SNDL stock seems to be rallying within a longer term bearish trend. For the last trading session, the session of the 7th of November 2022, it gained 0.86% on a below average volume of 2.7 million shares. On Monday, the 14th of November, the company is expected to deliver its earnings outcomes. The mean estimate from two analysts is a negative $0.04 with a range of a negative 0.05 to a negative $0.03. Revenue estimate is $228.17 million, a $213.8 million increase from the same period a year ago. So the company fundamentally seems to be doing well, but technically it's not so wonderful. It's been retracing, it's been so bearish, so I can imagine that amongst other things, what usually is the case is not, we see the fundamentals here. We can see the expectation is an increase of $213 million over a year ago. So this company is, fundamentally, I think, pretty much sound based on that alone. I've not considered other things, but this is what analysts are expecting. So they have looked around things. They have done their own due diligence way better than probably you and I. And they have seen that the company is expected to top what they made last year with $230 million. So I think what is behind this bearish retracement that is just so relentless is probably because of usually we see these sort of things because of toxic lenders who they may not essentially be toxic, but probably because the company is still growing and some of the loans that they secured in the past to get the business where it is, get this revenue we're talking about now, this extra $200 million and some fraction going, those loans have to be paid back, obviously. So sometimes some of these lenders get their money back through the shares. They keep on selling them, and sometimes we really don't see when that happens. All sort of things happens. The regulation 114, which the SEC is trying to improve on, and then safe harbors and all that stuff involved with that regulation. So it's a legal loophole. These lenders use it to get their money back. Sometimes because they have taken a loan, sometimes also using that regulation 114, they just write the letter to fill out the form and send it via paper form to the SEC, and then go on and sell the shares of the company. So all of these are within the regulation, within the rules. I think SEC is trying to make sure that is no longer done on paper form. It's going to be a digital one, so that you and I can see these things and decide for ourselves what we are going to do. So I want to believe that is probably amongst the things why it is just relentlessly so bearish. So as things stand right now, I mean, naturally we'd expect the stock to continue to retrace, but we have seen that since the 11th of October, it has continued to extend, broke above its 20-day moving average. That's the first time it broke above the 50-day moving 20-day moving average on the 25th of October. That was the first time it was above that. It closed above that moving average since August. But it got a resistance at its 50-day moving average on the 31st of October, and now trading below that. So given all of these things, we have been able to determine that a few probabilities. You can see this figure of this price of 2.79. This was the closing price as of the 6th of October. So the probability, if you want to plot a Fibonacci projection, you probably will may want to just pick it up from there, that sort of thing. So but the probability of SNDL trading below that level, that 2.79, is 94.29, because it's been so bearish. You can see that price is not so far away from where it closed. It's not so far away, but statistically the probability of it closing above that, of closing below that, is highly likely statistically, because it's just so bearish that statistically it's expected that it will remain below there. So it's that probability is 94.29%. The probability that it will rise above that is only a small 5.71%. Indeed, there's a lot in this 5.71%. Anything could just trigger a huge rally. We can see that, we saw that as well here. Huge spike. But that's a long time ago. But in any case, never say never. Only 5% is enough for things to go ballistic. So we also now take this rejection again from its rejection or resistance. This is this is the price where a lot of selling ensued. If you go by it technically, or just by the on face value. So that price is 2.45. If you also take that price, the probability of it trading below 2.45 is 57.93%. Beginning to make sense now. Beginning to make sense, because we're now getting closer to the 50-day moving average. I forgot to point out that we determined that probability with reference to the 50-day moving average, which is at $2.4. So given that the 2.45 is not far away from $2.4, which is that 50-day moving average, we were able to statistically determine that that probability is 57.93% for it to trade below there. So for it to also trade above there, above 2.45, is 42.07%. So it's much more likely that that sort of thing can happen. So if you want to determine these probabilities, you determine, you can use any average you want, any average indeed you are very comfortable with, that makes sense to you, and then you take the price you're looking at, and then you subtract, you do the subtract the average from the price you're talking about. You could also do the reverse, and then divide by the standard deviation over the certain range you have in mind, and then what the figure you get, you check it against the Z table. This is a Z table. You're going to find the link in the description box below, and determine your own probabilities from there. So given all of those things, we can now go ahead and pick up Fibonacci and plot a grid from here. 2.79, we didn't get that. It's 2.8. Let's see, 2.79. okay, pretty much. Okay, so bring it all the way down to, okay, let's bring it all the way down to 1.54. so we have downward projections and upward projections. We have 2.79 is pretty much, or rather I would say that resistance of 2.54 is naturally a projection, so outside that we now have a 2.79. so see what you make of all of these data concerning SNDL, and thank you very much for watching this video.